Hey everybody, what's up? This is Sweezy's World. Could be your world. Hope y'all having a great day. Man, it's like thunder booming all around here today, so hey, it is what it is, right? Uh, I like to talk about things on my channel that interest me, and I have a lot of interests, and hopefully at some point they'll interest you. There's a lot of topics I like to talk about. Not only the end of society, end of the world, and all this stuff, not like all that. Uh, you know, there's a lot out there. And sometimes you like to change the tune just a wee bit, and then come back to all the good stuff, right? So they say. All right, hey, look, I like to start with some type of a Bible reading of sorts, and today's no different. So I have to read this one because I'm not knowing this like I should probably. But all right, here goes. All right, it says, "We take seriously Jesus to command us to go forth and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them and teaching them to observe all things that I've commanded you." That's Matthew 28:19 and 20. Amen. All right. Now, today, I do want to talk about today a little bit. It's a little different. Aliens. That's right. Aliens amongst us. The question is, are there aliens amongst us? Do you go around maybe seeing people wherever you go, and you see a certain person, maybe a family, and preferably they have either not quite blonde hair, but sort of a whitish blonde hair maybe, and then sometimes they just have really pure blonde hair, really bright blue eyes, as far as what other people have. Not saying they're glowing or anything, but I mean, they have brighter eyes, like I have blue eyes, but they're not brightening like they once were. But do you see people like that when you're walking around wherever you're going, Kmart, Walmart, grocery stores, out walking through the parks, something like that? Do you run across someone who just looks just a little different? Not a big difference, but just a little difference. They could be from another world. We do have aliens amongst us. They are walking the streets right now. They're walking in the parks right now. They're probably out boating a little bit right now. Yeah, maybe not boating, but you know what I mean. They're here, and when they go to stores or whatnot, in a lot of cases, they look kind of like out of place in a way because they're trying to find stuff and identify stuff maybe that they maybe have not ever seen before. And so my question to you is, what do you think? What do you believe? Do you think we have aliens amongst us? I mean, we know and see at least once somewhere in the United States and around the world, there are people watching UFOs, right? Unidentified flying objects. They call them UAPs now, because unidentified aerial phenomena, because, phenomena, stupid, they're UFOs. They're flying, right? And they're in the air, and they're some kind of an object. Most likely spacecraft to a certain degree. Now, I've said this once before. If you see a little triangle out there, or you see some type of aircraft you really can't identify, stop and look to see if you see nav lights. You know what I'm saying? If you see nav lights, they're not from another world. People coming from other worlds in their spacecraft, they don't have nav lights. They don't need them, So if you see nav lights, they are built by somebody here. Now, I'm not saying they haven't used an alien technology, because we know we have the beings walking around. We know that the government probably has a few that are probably helping them out a little bit. Would they tell us? Absolutely not. They keep saying they're going to have disclosure, and they've never had really disclosure and never will. They feed you a bunch of line of doo-doo and hope you'll go away thinking, wow, that was pretty cool. When it's like the sleight of hand, look at this hand, but you won't have no idea what's going in that hand. Just saying. So that's my question. Do you think that we are actually being visited, or actually people actually on the earth, walking the earth, down sidewalks, wherever, buying ice cream at ice cream places, and they just look a little off? They look very attractive, but they look a little off, maybe. Maybe their English is not quite pronounced. and maybe their, you know, say their language, say it's not like a German language or dialect. It's not quite anything you've heard before, but they're friendly, and they usually don't want to talk to nobody too much. They just stick to their own, do their thing with their kids, or if they have kids. And but have you seen that? Maybe their clothes, fit too perfect. Just saying, maybe they fit too perfect, whatever, because they're using our clothes, they're buying our stuff. How they're making their money, who knows? Maybe they're making money, who knows? But just saying, I think it's worth. I think it's worth a thought, and I think they're walking around. I think they've been walking around for a long time. Uh, Now, have we actually seen them? Have I seen one walking around? No. I look all the time, and I see some strange characters out there, but they don't, they're not this. So you just picture them, kind of blue eyes, because they always have kind of a blue eyes, maybe even a hazel green eyes, but they're normal looking eyes, but they maybe stand out because of their skin's just a little paler, and they have sort of a blondish, silverish sort of kind of hair, and it's really nice and neat. Could be long. So I'm just saying, I think they're here. I was just curious what you thought. Hey, all right then. Hey, look, so I get out of here before my man of dark clouds are coming everywhere, and I don't want to get caught with the computer up and down, So until next time, all right. There's nothing but love for you guys. I really mean it. Thank you very much for stopping by. Could use some of those good things. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you really think. If you think possibly that they're already here and they're walking around. Like I said, I think they are. So what do you think? All right, until next time, we'll catch you later.